Let's take a couple minutes here and go through one of Danelle's older TikToks. She's not doing a whole lot there. Right now, it's just a waiting game. Since there's not much to talk about regarding the case, they're not going to. At least she's not asking the public to send the Innocence Project any leads. Anything they might know, send it into the Innocence Project. Because she's going to be out soon.
Hi, Joanne Edwards. This is a really good question. Sorry, I'm letting my puppies go potty, so you're going to hear puppy sounds. Will Darlie hold the state responsible when she is exonerated?
No. And I'll tell you why. Because she can't. She's already made written. She doesn't dispute the evidence against her. Let's put it that way. She's not disputing the evidence against her. It's how they came to get the evidence. They're looking at Charles Lynch, his background, his alcoholism, things like that. The kind of cameras they used. Why didn't they test this blood spot with that one? They're looking at mistakes in the investigation that caused people with any brains to come to the conclusion that Darlie Routier killed her children. There's no prosecutorial misconduct. There's no lying in the case that they're going after. There's nothing that says the state set her up. Now, let's say that we found out, because they like to say that the luminol testing wasn't even done. Well, let's say we find out through someone that was there that decides, all right, I want to be a deep throat. No, they never did the luminol. They just said they did. Right? If we found that out for a fact, that would be an issue. That'd be something that she could sue the state for presenting evidence that makes her look guilty when she's not. And that's not happened in this case. So no, Darlie's not going to hold the state responsible. The 12 jurors made the decision. If all the evidence that we have seen, there was a cut screen, there was a bloody fingerprint, there was a dry towel. Everything that we see was not stuff that was made up. You can't, like, Darlie would have been found guilty if she didn't commit the crime. What they want you to believe is that the state of Texas all conspired together, different departments of law enforcement from different cities, different states, got together and decided that they were going to make it look like Darlie committed this crime. We don't have any of that. The one most confusing thing in this case is that sock. The nitty gritty to it is the sock. Sock doesn't prove or disprove an intruder, and doesn't prove or disprove that Darlie didn't put it out there. It just is. Anyways, so she won't be able to hold the state accountable.
So it's kind of a tricky question, and I only barely understand a little bit of it. Hold on, these puppies. You guys, be nice. No fighting. So in the state of Texas, if you are proven innocent and you are exonerated as an innocent person, then you are entitled to restitution. But you have to actually get exonerated, not a new trial. You have to be exonerated in order to get that restitution.
Let's see.
So when Darlie gets exonerated, she will be...
It's good that she has her hopes up. It's good that she's got a good outlook on it. The whole thing with Texas wrongful convictions, she's right. You have to be exonerated. if she got a new trial and they found her not guilty, she would not qualify for restitution according to Texas law. Now, if they found out that the prosecutor and them lied, or that anybody lied on that stand, and the prosecution went with it, it could be way more than $80,000 a year in lump sum payments. So, that'd be quite a bit of money for Darlie. If she's exonerated, this is what the state of Texas would do, in my opinion. Let's say they found out through some miracle of forensic science that Darlie Routier has been in prison all these years for this crime and she did not do it. Let's say they have a piece of evidence that shows all of us that she did not do it. Of course, they'll let her out. But what they would probably do in order to not have to pay her $80,000 a year since 1997 is offer her the Alford plea. The Alford, that's where you're not saying you're guilty or innocent, but you get out. But you can't go back and sue the state for any wrongdoing. Let's see how the Alford plea was what worked in the West Memphis 3 case with Damien Eccles, Mike Sell, and the other young man, I forget his name. That's how it worked there. So let's see what she's got to say.
Be entitled to $80,000 a year for every year that she was locked up. I also read online today, which I've not really vetted this. It was a reliable source, but I haven't looked it up on the official website. There is also annuities. So she would continue to get $80,000 a year.
Plus they would pay for give her medical, any schooling she wanted to go to, job placement, things like that. They would help her with. For
the rest of her life. Now, that part I'm not 100% sure on. But my understanding is, and again, this is just my superficial understanding of it when I watched.
There's that word superficial. See how she uses the word superficial here as, that's just my superficial view. That means a quick glance. A superficial wound is not minor, not major, minor. See how she uses the word superficial here, but she tries to change it when it comes to her sister's case?
A quick little show, like a conference that was recorded about wrongful convictions. They said that so the reason they do restitution to begin with is to discourage those that have been exonerated from suing the state. Because obviously a lawsuit, there's not really a cap on that. And if they do restitution, they can put a cap on how much the state of Texas will pay for that error. If you sue, there's no cap. So Darlie could literally sue the state of Texas for $200 million. That's not.
See, there's no error in her case. We don't see any judicial error in her case. I don't see it. They didn't file. They haven't been screaming prosecutorial misconduct at Greg Davis. That's not one of the things that they try to tell you why Darlie should be freed is because of prosecutorial misconduct. They just tell you that Greg Davis was a wizard and everybody was under his spell and he could steal your underwear from you and sell them back to you. Well, that's what you're supposed to be when you're a prosecutor. They're not saying he lied, he withheld this, he didn't do this. They never, so prosecutorial misconduct will automatically get you a lawsuit filed, but Darlie doesn't have it in this case. She just doesn't.
In anybody's plans, so please don't take that out of context. But That's the theory. If they give restitution, then the inmates that were exonerated will not sue the state.
Well, you can do that with the Alfred plea. You have to. Let me take a look here. I'm not sure if the Alfred plea would work in Texas. I've never looked into it or any other best interest pleas. I know that in the state of Tennessee, they used it to get these boys from the West Memphis 3 out of prison, which means technically by law they're guilty. By law they are guilty. But they let them out because they're not going to sue the state. But Damien Echols is a millionaire now because of his he's just famous for being wrongfully convicted.
I do not think that Darlie or any of the family feels like the state of Texas is responsible for this error, for this awful situation.
Well, you keep on bashing the state of Texas. Licking your lips. Look that up. Matter of fact, what that means. And that is a sign of anxiety and or deception. We can't always use licking your lips as a sign of deception, because it could also be a sign of just a stressful situation. But most of the time, the licking of the lips like that, anxiety, depression, stress, and deception.
However, there is individuals that should be held accountable for this situation.
Well, no. See, what do you mean holding them accountable? What do you have? Do you have evidence that someone told a lie to that jury? Do you have that? No, you don't. Darlie signed a piece of paper that says she doesn't challenge the evidence in this case.
And if certain things become evident and we are able to see that there was malicious intent, that people did things intentionally to build a stronger case against Darlie instead of...
See, they have nothing like that, though. There's nothing. Remember, there's been thousands of people who look at this case, and they haven't found anything like that. Tell us about it, supporters, if you have.
Using evidence to really understand the evidence. They were manipulating evidence to support a guilty verdict.
Manipulating. That's a max. They didn't manipulate anything. The evidence that we see in this case is evidence that actually exists. It's there. They did not manipulate it.
If we find that that is accurate and we can put individuals with those actions, say Greg Davis was bribing somebody. This is not the case. I'm just making a reference. If Greg Davis bribed somebody to testify against Darlie, then that would have malicious intent.
Absolutely, and I would totally agree that something like that happened. See, if I saw something like that in the case where somebody was shady, like I always thought Bill Parker was shady. I don't believe a damn word he said. I don't believe for 1 minute Darlie sat in that interrogation room and said, well, if I did it, I don't remember. I don't believe that. And he can't prove it. That's about the closest that we've got to some bullshit regarding law enforcement in this case. I never did like Bill Parker. He just seemed like a scumbag to me.
He was doing something that is illegal and he could be prosecuted. But in order to prosecute a prosecutor, there is a 4-year statute of limitations.
Well, you have to have a crime.
At least that was what I saw last. That may have been changed by now, but what I saw was there's a 4-year statute of limitations in order to prosecute a prosecutor for doing something that had criminal intent or malicious intent.
You, as a supporter of a family member that's incarcerated for life due to prosecutorial misconduct, could present the evidence that you have at any time. There's no, even though you wouldn't get the prosecution, you would be proving that your family member or loved one is indeed innocent because of prosecutorial misconduct, which you guys have none. You have nothing even close to that.
Again, I don't think that was necessarily the case for everybody involved. I do think that people made some decisions that impacted Darlie's trial drastically, and I do think that those individuals should be held accountable, but we won't know exactly what that looks like until Darlie comes home. And then
the only thing that got Darlie convicted of this crime was the actual evidence in the crime. Nobody put things in there that didn't belong. Nobody took nothing out. Nobody paid this guy off. None of that. It was all there. So when Greg Davis got to work on that case, he had this is his options. He's got a cut screen. He's got weapons from the house. He's got conflicting statements. He's got law enforcement backing him up that Darlie wasn't helping. He's got everything that he needs to show us that she's guilty, and this is why. They don't have everything they need to show us she's innocent, and this is why. They have a lot of speculation, we don't.
And there will be a discussion about it. And Darlie will do whatever is best for her. I do know, though, that the annuities that I was talking about, the state of Texas paying her $80,000 every year for the remainder of her life, that goes away if you sue.
I think that it's $80,000 a year for every year that you are incarcerated in a lump sum. Huh? Take it easy. In a lump sum is how I think that goes out in the state of Texas.
The state of Texas. So theoretically, you have to look at it as which is better, and what's the point of suing the state of Texas? What are you hoping to get from it? Darlie's not looking to get rich or make a dime, or she wants to implement change. She wants to fix things. Every single person that I've seen exonerated says the same things. They want to change the system. They want to prevent this from happening to somebody else. Not a single one of them.
Then they get out and they get that $4 million like David Cam did, who was supposed to be an advocate for Darlie Routier under Bill Clutter, investigating innocence and justice everywhere. Remember, they were very strongly that David Cam got exonerated, and when he came out, he went to work for that company, and they said that they were really going to get Darlie out. The ISU for Darlie Routier page. And once David Cam, who was a former Indiana State police officer, he took him three trials to be found innocent of the crime that he was convicted of. But as soon as he got out, they said, he got out and he came out and he spoke about his case and looked at Darlie's a little bit, and you didn't hear nothing else from him. But he got like $4 million. And because of prosecutorial misconduct. And now he collects Jeeps and he's living the high life, but he ain't thinking a damn thing about Darlie Routier.
Comes out of prison saying, I hate blah, blah, blah. I'm going to sue them for everything. Nope, nobody comes out of prison exonerated angry. Obviously, you go through waves of emotions, and obviously you're going to have days where you're upset that this happened in its entirety. But in that moment, when you're exonerated, what I gather is that everybody is just so thankful and so glad that somebody finally listened and somebody finally paid attention and somebody made it happen for them, that they're willing to forgive everything else they've gone through. I personally forgave everybody that did wrong to my family a long time ago because I had to in order to continue living a happy life. I don't think that Darlie has ever been a grudge holder, and I don't think that she will be a grudge holder now, but I do think she wants accountability for those that have obviously done wrong things and should have some kind of repercussion.
Now you're saying she wants accountability. Just a few minutes before this, you said that she wanted change. Then you bounced back into, well, she wants accountability. You were trying to say that she didn't want to come out swinging. And now you're saying she wants accountability.
So, but again, there's no plans to sue the state. If there is obvious legal standing to have a civil lawsuit against somebody that caused this, then, you know, that would be up to Darlie and the lawyers. But that is not even in our thought process right now. Right now, the thought process is find the killer, bring Darlie home.
No. Find the killer, bring Darlie home. No. Your goal is to bring Darlie home. You're not doing anything to find the killer. Nothing.
And build a small compound and have, you know, a house for each of us. I mean, I have some land, so we can build them all right here and live happily ever after and never, ever deal with the court system ever again. Now, Darlie will definitely be involved in the court system because she wants to change some things and she wants to advocate for those that are wrongly.
Backtrack. See? You say, well, she's going to do this. And then you know she's going to do this.
Wrongfully convicted. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
You don't speak for any other wrongfully convicted people.
And yeah, that's that. Thank you. Great question.
What do you think? Like, subscribe, comment.